So hello everybody and welcome back to the One project. This is a continuation of a project that I started a few months ago, and it was an idea which was designed to encourage creativity. What I was trying to do was limit my shooting options in a certain way. So I would shoot with, say, one aperture all the way through the shoot, or I would shoot images with one shutter speed, or I would choose one subject and just focus on that subject and make images around that subject. In this situation here, I'm focusing my attention on using a 1:1 aspect ratio for my images. Now let me explain to you how that works. As you look at the screen on this camera, you'll find it's a rectangular shape. So when I take a photo and I look through the viewfinder, what I'm seeing is a rectangular image. Generally the aspect ratio of most cameras tends to be 4:3, which means that the image is either wider than it is tall, or it is taller than it is wide. In this situation though, what I'm trying to do by creating a 1:1 aspect ratio is create a square image. So the width and the height of the image are both exactly the same, and that's why we call it a 1:1. Just behind me you'll notice there is a wooden kind of den kind of thing which has been built and made up out of tree branches that have fallen in this woodland. You may recognise this woodland. I've been here quite a few times before, and every time I come something changes, where either more trees have been cut down, or there's more branches around, or the weather's just very changeable, and all the light is changing quite rapidly. So I come here quite often to just try and challenge myself and try and find something new. But it's a great place to be. As I said, this thing behind me, this den here, the wooden thing that's been constructed using branches, that looks like quite an interesting composition. So what I'm trying to do is put that dead centre of my frame and shoot with a 17mm focal length, and try and capture a lot of the scene in this image. I know that I'm going to be cropping this image when I get back to the computer, so I want to be able to crop this to a square format and keep that den as the focal point of the image. So at the moment the image is wider than it is tall, but once the crop has been applied it'll all be a square shape, and that will be my only subject in the image. I'm going to move on now. I've taken this image, so I'm going to move on and see if I can find something else that's going to be an interesting composition for this type of shot. So I'd like to share with you a very important landscape photography lesson that I've just learned to my cost. You probably notice around me right now there are a few drops of rain falling out of the sky. Well, the lesson I've learned today: when you're doing landscape photography, always take a waterproof jacket with you. I haven't today, so as you can see I'm getting wet. I mentioned earlier the weather can be changeable. Well, it has just changed. A moment ago it was dry with a little bit of a breeze. Now it's very wet with a little bit of a breeze. So let that be a lesson to you. Always bring a waterproof, because I haven't. Just behind me, right here, I've got a tree which almost looks as though it's got a double trunk, and as you go up from the ground, up that double trunk, you see just at the point here where the tree limbs start to spread out, there's kind of a knuckle there as well, which is almost a double knuckle at the top of the double tree trunk. But the shape of that looks perfect for a square crop, so I'm going to try and capture a square image of that. Again, I'm going to put the tree central in the image so that that becomes the only subject. There's loads of other trees around, but I want to focus just on this tree and make this area of the tree from the floor up to that knuckle the important focus point for the image. So this could be an interesting one. But also, this is a spot where I've been quite a few times before and shot a lot of images here. Just behind me as well, there's this road that runs up a hill slightly, and there are several trees further up the hill. But about halfway up this hill, just up here somewhere, there's a tree which is kind of in the middle of the road, and the road kind of splits apart and goes around the tree and then connects back together after the tree, and that looks like quite an interesting position for a square crop as well. So I'm going to give this one a try, and that one just up the road, and then I'll make another move. I decided that I was going to bracket those last two images, so I've taken 3 different exposures, and in each case then I will combine those 3 exposures before I make the crop, before I apply the crop. But what that will do is it will allow me to make the most of the dynamic range that there was in that scene. There was a lot of shadows, but also a lot of sunlight coming through the trees, so I had highlight areas and shadow areas that really needed to be balanced, and the only way that I can really do that is by bracketing those images. So I hope you like those. I'm heading now for another spot where hopefully I can get some more images. So I've got 2 interesting shots here. I've come to this pond I've been to before, and just behind me, let's see if I can show you this over my shoulder. Just there, just behind me, there's the pond, and there are some steps just here which lead us down to the pond itself. I don't really know what they are there for, but those steps are kind of a break in the wall and they create an interesting composition. I'm going to use the posts here, concrete posts, the bricks, either side of the steps as kind of the sides of my image, and go kind of close in on those steps there, so I'll capture the 2 concrete posts and a little bit of the water behind, and that will be about it. But then as I turn around, directly opposite there on the other side of the path, there are also a set of steps which go up into the woodland there, and although it's quite dark, that's going to make quite an interesting composition as well, very similar to this one. So I think that's going to be it for the vlog, ladies and gentlemen. This is Powell's Pool where I'm standing just now, which is part of Sutton Park, and on the far side of the pool, just over in that direction, there's a rowing club, a yachting club, and I'm going to try and capture a picture of these boats along the side of the water. Hopefully I can get those kind of right across the middle of the image, and that might look quite interesting. There's a tree just behind them as well, just there. I'm going to try and capture that in the image and make a square crop out of that tree and these boats here. If you've liked this video, please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you again on another vlog very shortly. Bye for now.